Hello everyone, it's Kari back again with you on the channel to share a really fun, interesting, hidden card. I say hidden because there's going to be a couple of elements that will be hidden on this card, and it's kind of a fun one. I'm going to be using some brand new stencils from Missing Stamps. This one is the Herringbone stencil. I think this is a must-have. It is a very awesome design. And it's really great for backgrounds, it's great for designs. Today I'm going to be doing some spot inking on this. So I'm taking some blues and some greens and I'm just spot inking a few places with each of the colors. And it's going to create a really fun look at the end. So I know it looks kind of like a crazy mess right now, but just wait till we see the reveal. I'm just going to fill those in and then kind of blend some of those colors together just a little bit. So I'll change back to the blue here and blend a little bit more, and then we'll have our background. And this is going to be the piece that we use for the back panel. So isn't that fun with lots of different colors? You can try this in different color schemes as well. I'm going for the blues and greens today. And then we have the brand new layering stencil called Wildflowers. This is an awesome stencil. I am in love with the new layering stencils from Missing. If you haven't seen all the new ones that just came out, you're going to want to check them out because they are awesome. This Wildflowers one is a favorite now of mine because I think you can do a lot of different things with it, a lot of different color choices you can make to change up the look. Today I'm just making sure that that's going to be lined up on the bottom of my panel. And I have a sticky mat here in my MISTI so that my white cardstock stays put. And then I'm going to line up each of the layers of the stencil into the corner of the MISTI, and so that I make sure that I get it lined up perfectly every time. And if you don't have a MISTI, Miss Ink also has a L-shaped stencil to line up all the layers, and that works really great too. For the largest flowers, I'm going to start with a light pink color, and then I'm going to go in with a darker pink in the center and just use my small detail blending brush to darken up the inside portion of each of those flowers. So we've got our light and our darks there, and now I'm going to add that next layering piece, which is the center of each of those flowers. Now these do look like sunflowers. They could be daisies, they could be whatever you want. I'm making them wildflowers today. And then the centers, I'm going to use some vintage photo ink for the middle, and I will make the bottom part of it a little bit darker than the rest. Then we'll put the next layer on, and I'll add an even darker shade to the tops of those little flowers up top there. And again, I'm using a detail brush and going in with a darker color. I end up darkening this up just a little bit more too, and you'll see that. But you can see it's very easy to layer up this stencil, just lining them all up in the corner. Here's the next layer. There I'm adding even more of a darker shade. So there we go, we've got some darker flowers there. And now we've got this layer here, which is going to add some of the leaves and some additional flowers up at the top. I'm going to make this little spray of flowers yellow. So to bring in my yellow colors and shades here, and we'll just do that all over this layer. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit darker of a shade, which is the Wild Honey. Again, using just a detail brush to add a little dimension to this layer. So there we go, finishing that up there, and I'm just loving how this is turning out so far. Now it's time to add some leaves. So I'll start off with this next stencil. By the way, these stencils are numbered, and so it's really easy to see which direction they go by the numbers. If I leave the numbers in the top right corner, then all of them will match up perfectly. I'm starting with a lighter green, kind of an olivey color here on this first layer, and then the next layer will bring in even a darker shade of green to finish up this beautiful stencil. Look how fun this is turning out. You can add some butterflies, some bees. I can see other little ladybugs, some different flying critters to this, but today we're going to use this in a much different fashion. It's going to help us with our surprise elements for this card. Look at how that turned out. Isn't it so beautiful? This layering stencil is just amazing. Some great details there. So we're going to use these together, and what I'm going to do is take my detailed scissors and just cut out the top portion of this. So I'll do this off screen, but it didn't take me very long. And now what we're going to do is create kind of a hidden sentiment. And they call this an eclipse card. So I've cut out the shadow with white, and I've cut out the detail piece with some green. But I decided I want the detail piece to match that back layer. So we're going to do the eclipse technique here. So I'm just lining it up where I want it to go on that layer. I'm going to scoot the shadow piece out of the way. And I'm going to do this very carefully. Watch. Take my little tool here, move that out of the way so I know right where that sentiment is supposed to go. And I'm going to tape that down and cut it out of our back stenciled panel. So what that's going to do is cut out a high that matches our back panel, and then I'll take the shadow piece and add that cutout right over the shadow. So it's kind of a hidden sentiment, which is one of the hidden pieces of this card. I ended up using that green layer, the light green, for a little bit of a shadow behind the front layer and in between the white shadow piece as well. So let's go ahead and glue all of those together before we start on the next part of the card. To add the white shadow, I'm just putting a small bead of glue around that cut out high. The shadow piece is just a touch bigger than that, so it's going to cover up this whole cutout piece here. And so there, look, I'll put it right over the top. There we go. And now I can add the herringbone piece to the green cutout. And this is from the high frame die from Miss Ink Stamps. I love this. I love this one. So we'll glue those together, and then we'll add those all onto that shadow piece. In the video, you can't really see that green shadow I'm adding right now, but in real life, it makes a little bit of a difference, and it pops it up from the background just a touch as well. So there's a dimensional effect to it too. So I'll finish that off, and now I've cut a little hinge here, and this is just I don't know, maybe a 2-inch hinge, and I scored it at the halfway mark. And now I'm going to add the hinge to the back of the right side of that wildflower die, or the wildflower piece that we stenciled. So I know this looks funny right now, but what I want to do is attach it to the back of that panel and then attach the whole herringbone panel to our card front. So this hinge piece is going to be hidden. You're not going to see it on the finished card, but you will be able to open that front part of the wildflowers, and then you'll be able to open the entire card the opposite direction. So this is going to be a Z fold card. So I'm going to add glue to the back of that hinge piece now, attach it to the back of our herringbone panel, line those up as best I can. And I'm going to need to trim some of that edging off right there off the bottom. And I also ended up having to cut a tiny bit off the bottom of the wildflower stenciled part as well. But there is the first look at our front piece. So we're going to be able to hide something behind the wildflowers. Now, bonus points if you can guess what I am going to hide behind there. And I'll show you in just a few minutes, but you may guess. So now look here, that hinge piece did add a little extra dimension to the back of this panel. So what I'm going to do before I glue that down is I'm going to add a little extra of my just random pieces here of cardstock that's the same level layer as that hinge piece. That way when we glue it, the panel down to the front of the card, it's all the same layer. So I'm just using, just random extra pieces that I found on my desk, cutting them when I need to. And I'll cut this piece right there to fit there. And that way this is all going to be the same layer on our card panel. So I can glue that on now to the card base. Just using some liquid adhesive, making sure that is all glued really well, because this is getting a little bit heavier because we have some extra pieces with that hinge and our wildflower stencil. But look here, so you'll be able to open it the front and the back. So see, I'm showing you now that I need to trim off just a touch off the bottom. So I did that, and now it's ready to hide something in the front of this card. So of course, I had to go with Alice. At first I was just gonna put those capybaras, looking so cute, but they were even sweeter when they were visiting with Alice and saying hi. So I had to do it. But you know what else would look cute behind here is one of the Highland cows. Here's the stamp set. And then you can use any of these sentiments if you want to add to that inside as well, or to the hidden part of the card. And I decided to go ahead and stamp on What a Wonder You Are on the inside. There's that high swirl frame die. It's a really beautiful die as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my MISTI and stamp a little sentiment right here. And it's going to be this one here from the Alice's Adventures. I think that's the Alice Adventure set. So I'll go ahead and put that in my MISTI, stamp it with some black ink. And I'm being very careful because I've already put this whole card together. So of course, and there we go. What a Wonder You Are. I think that looks really, really cute. Now you could also add more flowers back here. You could add some little bread and butterflies if you wanted to. I think that would be super cute, kind of sticking up from the wildflowers. There's the Z fold. You can see that here from the overview, and it opens two ways. A really fun surprise card. I think this is going to be fun to send to my granddaughter. She's going to love it. So I hope you enjoyed this card today. It was really fun to put together. Just a different way to use your stencils and create some fun, surprising elements on a card. I really love this little hidden Alice and the little capybaras and the hidden high sentiment as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back soon to share more cards. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.